We have another new exciting announcement for the 2024 season. This one not nearly as major as Top Thrill 2 at Cedar Point, but still a notable ride. Good Gravy coming to Holiday World. This coaster may not be super big, but I think this is a great addition to Holiday World, and in this video I'll explain why. First things first, let's set the stage for Holiday World as a park. What other coasters do they have? This park is known for one ride, and that would be the Voyage. This Gravity Group wooden coaster is absolutely insane, and it's one of 3 wooden coasters at the park. Voyage is the most notable of the 3. But you also can't forget about Legend, which opened in 2000, and Raven, which opened back in 1995. These 3 wooden coasters are the coasters that made Holiday World famous. In 2015, Holiday World branched out from their wooden coasters and added a B&M launched wing coaster and Thunderbird. Most people think that this is one of the better wing coasters out there, and it has that launch, which is a unique element for that type of ride. Outside of the kiddie coaster Howler, which opened in 1999, this was the only ever steel coaster in the park, and while I do appreciate that Holiday World branched out, there was still one major category that this park did not have. And that would be any sort of family coaster. Whether this is a family wooden coaster or a family steel coaster, this park needed one desperately. And finally, we have one with Good Gravy. Before I get into the specifics of this roller coaster, I just want to shout out Holiday World for their amazing announcement video. This thing is a little bit cringy and a little bit quirky, but I loved every second of it. I'll leave the link to the announcement video down below because it's worth a watch. I love the originality and the creativity that this independent park showed here. That's a neat thing about independent parks and why I think that us coaster fans and fans of parks in general need to support these places because they can do some really unique stuff that a theme park chain wouldn't be able to do. Long story short, give it a watch, it'll be linked below. But getting into the ride itself, this is a Vekoma family boomerang coaster. We've seen these in Europe and other places in the world, but we haven't seen a coaster like this come to America, and I love how we keep seeing Vekoma family coasters pop up in America, like Big Bear Mountain at Dollywood. It's awesome to see more Vekomas coming to America, because the new age Vekomas have mostly been in Europe and Asia, so seeing them come to America is cool. A couple other notes about Good Gravy. This roller coaster will have a height of 77 feet, and of course because it's a shuttle coaster, that height will vary depending on what row you sit in. We don't know how many feet of track this coaster will have exactly yet, but it's going to be about 1,500, and it's going to go 37 miles an hour. This coaster will be located in the Thanksgiving section, obviously, and each train will hold a total of 20 riders. Another thing I'm interested by is the theming. This coaster appears to have pretty good theming from the animation, but as we know, that does not always translate to real life. So with that, is the queue and station actually going to look like a house? I hope so. That would really add to the Gravy experience. And I also hope that the trains look as good as they do in the animation. So let's get into the layout with all that being said. You're going to start by lifting out of the station backwards and ascending the lift hill. This is where I imagine the top height of 77 feet is, but maybe it's on the spike. One of the two. You're then going to drop down and go through the station. I presume this is where you probably reach your top speed of 37 miles an hour. From here, you turn to the right and then twist to the left. After a little bunny hop, which may or may not give a pinch of airtime, you twist back to the left and up into your spike before doing the whole layout again backwards. If you're in the front, the backwards section is going to be a fun part of the ride. So that's pretty much the entire layout of Good Gravy, and while it is pretty short, it is a family coaster, keep in mind. This roller coaster cost $10 million, and if that was Holiday World's budget, then they ultimately had to do what they had to do to keep the coaster within their budget. I think the length of this is fine, and because they're only going to be able to run one train because of the nature of this ride, I think it's okay that it's not a super long experience because if it was a lot longer, then the line would move at a snail's pace. Operations are going to be a big thing for this coaster. How fast are they going to be able to dispatch those trains? Because I imagine this is going to be a pretty popular ride. Keep in mind, this is Holiday World's only intermediate roller coaster. You go straight from kiddie coaster to pretty major thrill ride in the Raven. Because of that, I expect this coaster to be one of the most popular in the entire park, especially because it's only going to have one train operations. I'm also not sure what the loose article policy is going to be on this roller coaster, but it would be smart if you just had the guests keep their stuff with you during the coaster, because I doubt anything would be thrown from the train, and if you had cubbies, it would slow down the operations. Long story short, I'm going to be intrigued by this coaster's dispatches. So overall, I think Good Gravy is going to be an enjoyable coaster for thrill seekers and a great coaster for families. More importantly, it's what this park needed, and it's great to see a coaster edition that fills a major gap in a theme park's lineup, and that is exactly what we're seeing here with Holiday World. So overall, hats off Holiday World, good job.
Gee willikers, that's some good gravy.
Coming May 2024 to a Thanksgiving-themed section of a theme park, possibly near you.